All right, welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're talking about India's 78th Independence Day. But we're not just looking at it as a single day. We're looking at the whole epic journey. So, where did this all start? And maybe more importantly, where is it all going? Let's get into it.
There's this quote that just perfectly sums up the whole thing. It goes, "From colonial rule to becoming the world's fastest-growing major economy, today we look back, reflect, and look forward." And that's exactly what we're going to do. We're talking about the past, a really dynamic present, and a future that's, well, incredibly ambitious.
Okay, so to really get a handle on where India is today, you've got to go back, way back, to the very beginning. We need to talk about that intense struggle for freedom and the huge price that was paid for it.
And what's so wild is just how long this took. The journey really kicks off at the beginning of British colonial rule way back in 1757. Think about that. For almost 200 years, that desire for self-rule was just simmering, and then it really boiled over in the 1920s and 40s. All that history, led to 1947, a year that meant independence but also the incredibly painful partition.
And this wasn't just some abstract historical event. It was driven by real, remarkable people. Of course, you have names everyone knows, like Mahatma Gandhi and his whole philosophy of nonviolence, or Jawaharlal Nehru, who became India's first prime minister. But what's so important to remember is how diverse this movement was. You had revolutionary voices like Subhash Chandra Bose and Bhagat Singh, and these amazing icons of resistance like Rani Lakshmibai. Every single one of them played a crucial and totally different part in the story.
So that's why August 15th is so much more than just a date on the calendar, right? It's this powerful symbol. A symbol of unity that was literally forged in struggle. A symbol of incredible sacrifice. And, at the end of the day, a symbol of the birth of a sovereign, democratic nation finally ready to steer its own ship.
Okay, so let's hit the fast-forward button. We've talked about the foundation. So what's been built on it? What does India actually look like today? 78 years later, what are the fruits of all that struggle?
Well, if you had to pick just one number to show the ambition of modern India, this might be it: $5 trillion. And listen, this isn't some far-off, maybe one-day dream. No, this is the official near-term target for the economy. That number alone tells you everything you need to know about the scale and the speed of India's economic goals.
So the big question is, how is all this growth even happening? Well, you can kind of break India's story today into four big pieces. It's not just about being an economic power. It's also about this huge technological leap, growing influence on the world stage, and this deep social transformation. And it's all happening at the same time. Let's just zoom in on a couple of these, because they're pretty amazing.
Okay, so technology. This is where India is really, truly leapfrogging ahead. And we're not just talking about the call centers and software services of the past. Nope. The country is now a pioneer in things like AI, and it's making these huge strides in space. Just look at this stuff. Gaganyaan. That's the plan to send humans into space. Chandrayaan-4 wants to bring back samples from the moon. And the Aditya missions, they're studying the sun. This is absolutely world-class science we're talking about.
And all that progress at home, it's translating directly into influence abroad. Take India's recent G20 presidency. That wasn't just about hosting a party, it was about shaping the global conversation. India is also a major player in groups like BRICS, the big emerging economies. And it's become a central pillar in what they call the Indo-Pacific strategy. Plus, it's really making a name for itself as a champion for digital transformation, especially for other developing countries.
But let's be real. No journey this big is ever just a straight line up. It just doesn't work that way. To get the full picture, we have to be honest and take a look at the road ahead and some of the very real, very tough challenges that are on it. So, with all this amazing progress and this huge ambition, what are the actual hurdles? What's standing in the way?
Okay, maybe the single biggest challenge is this really delicate balancing act. On one side, you've got this unstoppable drive for economic growth, that push for a $5 trillion economy, more factories, bigger cities. But on the other side, you have the urgent need to protect the environment. So how do you do both? How do you grow sustainably with over 8 billion people? That's the fundamental problem right there.
And the list doesn't stop there, not by a long shot. You've got to tackle stubborn poverty and, maybe most importantly, create enough jobs for this massive wave of young people. That's a huge priority. Then there's navigating a really complex and, frankly, tense geopolitically. That's a constant.
And inside the country itself, you've got this big job of bridging the gap between the cities and the countryside, making sure all this growth actually reaches everyone.
So, keeping all those challenges in mind, the question is, where does India go from here? So let's look to the future. Let's talk about something called Vision 2047, which is all about what the nation wants to be when it turns 100.
So what exactly is this Vision 2047? Well, it's not just some boring policy paper. It's really a national dream. It's this shared goal for India to become a fully developed nation, a world leader in the economy, in science, and in culture, all by its 100th birthday. You can think of it like the North Star for the country's entire long-term plan.
But look, a vision is one thing. Having a plan to get there is something else entirely. So how does India actually do it? Well, the path forward seems to be built on three big ideas. First, empower that massive youth population and let them drive innovation. Second, hold on tight to those founding values of democracy and diversity. And third, step up and confidently take on a global leadership role to help build a fairer world for everyone.
So, when you look at it all, from those first struggles for freedom to this modern race for a $5 trillion economy, it has been one heck of an incredible 78-year journey. And it really leaves us with this final big question for the road ahead. As India's ambitions keep soaring towards that 2047 goal, how will it balance the country it wants to become with the core values it was founded upon?